Occasionally in my thread, I have to address certain comments, and it's not just this particular comment in general, but it's kind of these judgy, um, really have no concept of the actual happening because they don't have enough information. They're very ignorant comments, and they're just they have nothing to do with the actual events that took place. When you only have the ability to see a snippet of what we're talking about in a 3 or 4 minute video, but to go out of your way to be judgy and really arrogant in that way, I think it needs to be called out. It's not this particular lady, but it's other people that don't really understand what I'm trying to do, which is help people. It's hard enough to expose very difficult periods in your life, and some of these things that we talk about with my wife, who eventually passed away from alcoholism 4 years ago. This particular event that this is coming from happened 9 years ago, and it was a period where my mother was dying in New York, and I actually had to take my wife and son out of my dad's house because my wife had already cleaned out the liquor cabinet, my dad's liquor cabinet. So I had to get her out of the house and go somewhere else for a while just to clear things. And then it escalated. It got worse and worse. And quite frankly, this was probably one of the most worst episodes that my wife ever went through in her 20-year, career as an alcoholic. Couldn't stop drinking no matter what we did. We tried everything. My son and I tried everything absolutely to stop. And then we went to a hotel in Washington from New York, and this is what we're talking about. She swore to her she wouldn't drink anymore. We went to dinner, and she proceeded to drink herself into oblivion. We were actually at a hotel restaurant, which was at the bottom floor. It was a very nice hotel, and we left her. We just couldn't stand it anymore. My son and I, we couldn't even be around it anymore. And then we went back to the room, and then she came back to the room, and she fell down and broke the toilet, shattering the toilet, and it flooded out the floor. So we had to leave that room. We couldn't even take our wife, my wife, with us because she was too passed out. We took everything we could get just to get her into a bed in the first room, and we had to leave her. And the next day, she had no memory of it, and she was very angry because she thought we had abandoned her when we had no ability to take her with us. Because you can't carry a woman, 50 yards when they can't walk. It's physically impossible. So this judgy kind of character just shows people's blatant ignorance and a lack of understanding. It's very difficult. And really, the only reason why I'm calling this particular comment out, or comments similar to this, is because it really has nothing to do with what we're talking about, or what my experience was. And people tend to project their own experience onto some subject matter like what I'm talking about. Maybe they had an experience in their life where they weren't treated correctly, but there's no way that you can compare it to what I was going through and what my son was going through. It's incomparable. So I just need to point that out. And it's very disturbing. It's not triggering. It's just disturbing that people have this kind of mindset where it's okay to be rude to a very difficult situation. And it's again, the conversation of alcoholism needs to be exposed because so many years nobody ever talked about alcoholism. Nobody talked about how it destroys families and people, and it needs to be done in a way that it can be talked about, it can be exposed, people can learn from it. If we don't talk about these experiences, nobody will ever learn from it, which is the point of why I do these. And again, thanks for listening.